APPTIS membangun peradaban, budaya literasi bangsa, wadah partisipasi semua, perguruan tinggi Islam, tempat persatuan pembinaan, pengembangan perpustakaan, membantu menopang dunia, sivitas akademika. Ayo maju, APPTIS jiwaku, dengan kehormatan demi bangsaku. Ayo maju, APPTIS untuk negeri, literasi tercapai, makmur berbudi. Prestasi kiprah advokasi sebagai jembatan solusi, menyongsong derap informasi, APPTIS membangun negeri. Ayo maju, APPTIS jiwaku, dengan kehormatan demi bangsaku. Ayo maju, APPTIS untuk negeri, literasi tercapai, makmur berbudi, makmur berbudi.
Thank you so much, and let's move to the next agenda, that is speech as an opening remark. It's my pleasure to introduce Ibu Ismiyatin as the librarian in UIN Sunan Kalijaga. We are pleased, Ibu Ismiyatin, to deliver the opening remark.
Okay, thank you, Annisa. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ismiyatin. I am librarian in UIN Sunan Kalijaga. It is an honor for me to speak on behalf of the organizer. Let me begin by giving you a warm welcome to the International Talk Visiting International Librarian Session 8, organized by UIN Sunan Kalijaga Library, SLA Asia, and APPTIS. Thank you for being here with us today. Before we get started, I would like to say my gratitude to the Honorable Professor Malkit, Rector of UIN Sunan Kalijaga, and Ibu Labibah Zain, MLIS, the Director of UIN Sunan Kalijaga Library, Director of APPTIS, and past President of SLA Asia. My great appreciation to the Honorable Ibu Ayse Yuksel-Durukan, Teacher Librarian and School Library Consultant in Istanbul, Turkey, as the speaker today. Many thanks to you for your willingness to accept our invitation. And also for Dr. Debal, the President of SLA Asia. For UIN Sunan Kalijaga Library team, thank you so much for your effort in conducting this webinar, and also for iGroup, Passcode, Taylor and Francis for supporting this library program. In today's webinar, the topic is Turkey School Library, Library Community, K-12 libraries in Turkey and the importance of meal for everyone. It will talk about network of education, access of information in pandemic time, and a school library in Turkey. I'm sure that today will be fun and full of learning. And I hope that from this webinar, the participant will get new knowledge about what and how the role and the contribution of school library in supporting the library as a whole in the country. I don't want to take too much of your time. I need to hand over to Annisa Rahayu, lead students of UIN Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta, as the MC, and to Mrs. Isrowiyanti, my partner in UIN Sunan Kalijaga Library, as the moderator today. Finally, I wish you a wonderful webinar. It's great to see many of you here. Thank you so much. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much, Ibu Ismi, for your speech. And ladies and gentlemen, before we continue to the next agenda, I will give you an information for all the participants that want to get an e-certificate. Please fill in the attendance form and take note that the registration key is 5093338. Once more, the registration key is 5093338. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, that was only the beginning. Now we come to our main program that will be led by our moderator, Ibu Isrowiyanti. She is librarian in Sunan Kalijaga Library since 2008. Ibu Isrowiyanti, please handle this session and time is yours.
Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon. It's a great opportunity for me to be here as a moderator in this wonderful webinar, International Talk Visiting Librarian, Session 8, conducted by UIN Sunan Kalijaga Yogyakarta Library in collaboration with APPTIS and SLA Asia. This program also conducted through Zoom and UIN Sunan Kalijaga Library YouTube channel at Sukalim. In this moment, I would like to deliver my high appreciation to the Honorable Ibu Labibah Zain, MLIS, the Director of UIN Sunan Kalijaga Yogyakarta Library, who has been fully enthusiasm in leading this program so it can run smoothly up to this 8th series. Ladies and gentlemen, today the webinar topic is about Turkey School Library. Among us has presented our speaker, our outstanding speaker, the Honorable Ibu Ayse Yuksel-Durukan from Turkey. She is a senior librarian, teacher librarian at Robert College Library. Hello, Ibu Ayse Yuksel. I hope I'm right on saying the name. Anyway, about Turkey, it might remind us to the Pergamon Library, the ancient libraries from the 3rd century. It's so really amazing, is it right? And hopefully someday there will be among the participants can visit that wonderful ancient library. Amin. Okay, talking the webinar topic, we all agree that school library is an essential aspect on learning that related to learning outcomes and student achievement, both academic and skill aspect. Talking about school library is as crucial talking about libraries at the next education level, such as university library. Certainly, it requires great concern from many stakeholders to increase the school library roles to reach learning goals. And related this topic, it might be raise some question in our mind, such as what kind of good school library programs, what about school library roles, and what is Turkish school library barriers on developing the library, and what is the challenges, and so forth. And through this webinar, we hope to find the answer. And I'm sure our outstanding speaker, Ibu Ayse Yuksel, would like to deliver the explanation. Ladies and gentlemen, before delivering her presentation, I would like to introduce our speaker to be. Ibu Ayse Yuksel-Durukan has MRIS from Dominican University, Illinois, and have MA from Architect Sunan University, Istanbul. She worked at Robert College Library. She is also a graduate from RC, teaching student and teachers research technique, information and digital literacy, academic honesty and fake news in 1997 to 2013. In 2003, she realized the first National School Libraries Conference with her RC team. In 2018, the first IASL Istanbul Conference was carried with her effort and with the support of the Ministry of Education. She has been involved with Enriched Libraries project between 2012 to 2020. She is now acting as a consultant for school libraries. She has served as an executive member for the Turkish Librarians Association between 2010 to 2012 and the Turkish IBBY Association between 2013 to 2016. She acts as the Middle East and North Africa Regional Director of International of School Librarianship in 2012 to 2028. And she has a Beta PIMU award. Well, that is the curriculum vitae of our speaker, and it's really impressive. Okay, before Ibu Ayse Yuksel present her paper, I would like to remind to all participants about the rules of webinar conduct. The presentation will deliver around 20 minutes. And after that, we have answer and question for 15 minutes. The participants could write down the question in the chat room or on YouTube, and I will read it for the speaker. The participant must turn off or mute the speaker during the presentation. Hopefully, all participants could join the webinar until the end of the session. And now, it's the time to our speaker to deliver her presentation. Ibu Ayse Yuksel, are you ready?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, to the Honorable Ibu Ayse Yuksel, time is yours.
Okay, hello and good day to everyone. Selamet tinggal. I'm very happy to be with you. I would like to thank my friend, Dr. Labiba, Dr. Ismiyatin, Dr. Debal, Isrowiyanti, Annisa, and Anik, all helping me on this presentation. I am in Istanbul right now in Turkey, and the time is about 10:30 in the morning, and I think you are in the afternoon over there. I will talk especially about school libraries, because they are the necessary unit and the indispensable media and information literacy in the midst of this mass media and social media broadcasting all types of stories. Do you see my presentation? Okay, first slide. And can we go on to the second slide, please? Okay, you see me in Indonesia in this slide. This is me in 2013. We had a school library conference by the International Association of School Librarianship, and together with the Indonesian School Library Associations. It was a beautiful conference and I enjoyed your country very much. And the topic was enhancing students' life skills through school libraries. So, and Dr. Diljit Singh was, many of you might know, was our president then, and I was the regional director. Can we go on to the next slide, please? And my country, Turkey, is 84 million people with 209 universities. Some of them, most of them are state universities, and 78 of them are foundation universities. Library science education training is given by 14 universities who are all state universities. And it is a 4-year training. Open education and distance education, when the pandemic started in March 2020, the distance education was a must. But Turkey was used to open education. In the beginning of 80s, in Eskişehir, Anatolian University was already functioning. I know distance education is somewhat different, but all universities took over for distance education. Next slide, please. And let's look at the library statistics in Turkey. These numbers are given by the Turkish Statistical Institute. We have 1,200 public libraries. I'm rounding up the numbers. University libraries are about 600, and school libraries over 32,000. Next slide. And let's look at the K-12 arena, the distribution of schools. 10,600 kindergarten schools, 24,700 primary schools, 18,900 middle schools, and 12,500 high schools. Okay, next slide. And let's look at this student population as well. State schools have over 15 million students. Private schools have almost 1.5 private students, the number of population of students. Open education, this refers to high schools only. Almost 1.5 million students take open education for high schools. And teachers, we have over 1 million. What happens is in Turkey, mostly, okay, and let's go to the next slide, please. When the pandemic was announced, and EBA, which stands in Turkish for Network of Education and Informatics, and it is supported and funded by the Ministry of Education. It was already broadcasting through the internet subjects, classes put on by teachers, videos put by teachers. But then when the pandemic was announced, they dedicated 3 TV channels to the schools. One was for primary schools, middle school, and high school. These numbers are given by the Ministry of Education, and they refer to a time span of March 2020 to June 2021. So I had already said it's about 18 million students. How many attended these channel broadcasting? Almost 14 million students attended. What happened to the almost 5 million students? They were absent. It was difficult times, really difficult times. Students were not happy sitting in a chair and watching the screen. Next slide, please. And I will also give you the, we need slide 7. I will also EBA was not accessed through TV channels only. Students who didn't have TV could access it by the internet. So through mobile phones, 61% of students had tried to access it. Through computers, 30% of the students accessed it. And with tablets, 9% was accessed. That was difficult too, because the internet bandwidth, the internet speed is not really very comfortable in Turkey either. Please, the next slide. And this is in winter, middle of Turkey, almost near to Black Sea. Students have set up on the mountaintop a tent to study. They climb the hilltop every morning to access the internet. They all have mobile phones because this point was accessible for the internet. Next slide, please. And we come to a springtime. This is south of Turkey. Students have found a spot to access the internet, and they are trying, and all of them have mobile phones. So we had difficult times, really. And slide 11, please. Pandemic times. As librarians, we are information managers. Therefore, we are an active part of the education world. We all know that quality of education is the major issue. Recall UNESCO's Sustainable Development Goals, number 4. When the pandemic started, all libraries, school, public, academic librarians were not ready for remote and blended education environments. It was difficult times to deliver services, but as librarians, we adapted very quickly. And the more important question was the world ready for infodemic? Remember 2000 and 2010 labeled as the explosion of information, and 2016 with the phrase post-truth, and how media and information literacy became the most important issue. I would like to remind you, in 2018, for the first time, European Commission published a multi-dimensional approach to disinformation, a report on fake news and online disinformation. There, they advised that media and information literacy should be included in the curriculum. This was an important step for Europe. After the infodemic started, librarians were on the front to prevent coronavirus misinformation. There were lots of conspiracies, as you all know. I won't go into detail for that, but quality education is possible only with quality information. We all know that. It's clear that we need to educate our students as early as possible and on all levels, considering K-12. Well, I am aware of many school libraries are having difficult times throughout the world. But think of this question. What happens if students do not have access to a proper library and students are left without a professional trained librarian? Or even if they do not have access to a public library? So it's really a difficult situation. Students must have a wide variety of materials, not only resources limited to assignments and homework. Access to an effective school library program is an example of information privilege. That was cited by Joyce Valenza, who is my idol in school librarianship. And I really cherish that phrase, information privilege. If you do not have access to the information you need, then you are faced with information inequity. Next slide, please. But how do we prioritize media and information literacy? How do we arrange that in a school when you are a school librarian? Go reach out to your community. Know your community very well. Know your community's needs, their expectation. You can have surveys around. That's easy to do, and ask people, and then understand the real character of your community. You have to collaborate with class teachers. It's a must. Otherwise, you cannot be successful. The only way to teach media and information literacy is through subjects used in units, in different classes, through experiments with students and with collaboration of the teacher. You have to address students' daily needs. Otherwise, they will not listen to you. Dealing with misinformation and reaching relevant information is crucial, because those are the ways that you can teach and your students can understand social and civic responsibility. Next slide, please. And that is why we keep saying media and information literacy is a life skill. It has really become a life skill. Understanding the need for information, recognizing the need for information, most students do not understand this. They say, I know it already. I don't need information. So we have to teach that to students. And every student being able to formulate questions is not easy either, but it's necessary, because formulating questions is knowing your purpose and establishing a research to be able to differentiate between relevant and irrelevant information in order to develop a deep understanding of any topic. This is verifying the truth. Am I on the right track or on the wrong side? And we all need to make the right choices for a healthy democracy. That's very important for us and for all our students. Evaluation is very important too, because it's a pivotal step. That's how you learn. Evaluate yourself every morning. Teach your students to evaluate themselves. Next slide, please. I always believe that in a school library, the atmosphere of democracy reigns, because it's the lab for democracy. Why? Because first of all, it's a safe place. And then it's where you experiment. The students can experiment anything, ideas in the school library. And you can ask anything in the library. It's a place of inquiry, and you can get answers. Creativity is what is crucial in these times. You do not have to be a fine artist. You do not have to be a painter, a sculptor, designer to be creative. Look, you are writing, right? Everybody is writing, and you are taking photographs. That's enough. That's creativity, is looking at things differently. It's your imagination gets to fly. Your imagination flies in the school library. It's discovery and invention. Teamwork, another very important point. Teach your students to work within a team. That's the way they learn to listen to others and empathizing with others and producing projects together. Critical thinking and problem solving, as you might well know, is an indispensable situation. Okay, next slide. I know as a school librarian that we operate on a small budget. It's difficult, and yet we are the fundamental services, selecting the right sources, providing quality information, curating what is best and needed. These are not easy to handle with a small budget, I know, but that's the way you become the cultural center of your community. Next slide, please. This is what I really cherish, this sentence. David Lanks said this: to be a librarian is not to be neutral or passive or waiting for a question. It is to be a radical positive change agent in your community. Please be the radical positive change agent in your community. Okay, next slide. Know your community very well. This is how you're going to proceed and keep giving answers to your students. Embrace new models, always. Keep changing. Times are changing, everything is changing, and keep learning. How do we learn? You connect with the world. There are so many creative librarians posting on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. Connect to them, and this is, believe me, you're going to learn a lot. Every day, rethink, rearrange yourselves. Create readers, support readers, create thinkers, inquirers, and students who keep writing creative ideas. And I think we're on for the last slide. Thank you very much, everybody. I hope this was informative for you, and that's the end of my presentation.
Overall, it's really important and inspiring for all of us. Some points I have noted based on your presentation are MILS life skill is very crucial, especially during the current pandemic times. It helps the student and the school community in understanding the need of information and having responsibility in accessing and using the information that found in various media, especially in online. MIL help the students on being able to formulate questions, evaluate information, and establish research. I note that MIL should be included in curriculum And the essential roles of school library need to enhance. That is the library as a place where the students do reading, discussing, critical thinking, creativity, and collaboration with all the school community. Besides, the school library as a place for developing the student capability on culture, democracy, also to be the problem solving. Well, ladies and gentlemen, now it's the time to deliver some question of participants, and I'm going to read it, and maybe from chat room or YouTube. It's from YouTube, yeah. There is a question from Mr. Yuswandi via Zoom. He asked, I want to ask about what is the simple best practice we can do in a library with the limited facilities. Yeah, Mr. Wandi asks you, I want to ask about what is the simple best practice we can do in a library with the limited facilities. Thank you.
Yes, we have limited facilities. I understand that. And we've always acted on a limited budget. But try to enhance your collection, whether digital or print, as much as possible. And when you react with teachers, have as many students as possible to come and visit the library, whether on screen or on campus. And if the thing is, when you collaborate with the teachers, then you can have classes, have visit, like you can also invite local authors on the screen or on campus physically. Then students get excited about it. And then, you know, this is a start. And then you go on to more complicated projects. If you do one thing and present it to your administrator, then you get more funds. That's the trick I always used in my life.
Okay. The next question from Sri Manganti. How do you serve the school library in the pandemic era? Do you have collaboration with the teacher, or you just create program and deal directly with the students? It means what related based on your experience? How?
Okay, it was difficult times, and it was the students were having hard time sitting in front of a screen and watching things, but through teachers and administrators, you can get them together to listen to an author that they like, and then the second step would be having your students listen to a story. Either some librarians, we read stories to these kids, and to make it more and more interesting, we offered small activities concerning the story in front of the screen. Otherwise, it was difficult to get students to the screen. And these were the simple activities that we did. And the other problem we had in Turkey with school libraries was we don't have Turkish databases available to K-12 education. So we had one only for Turkish stories, novels. So it was a really difficult time, and it's still a difficult time.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Maybe we move to next question from Mu'alim. How do you get support from your parent institution? Sometimes it's difficult to get our attention from our boss. How do you get support from your parent institution?
Yeah,
Some-
yeah, this is important. You need to get support, and you need to get great support. And first of all, the administrator should be familiar with the library, which usually is not the case. But every school year, end of the school year, present a report to the administrator. The activities you have done, how many students were in the library, and how they participated in the library. Also, keep a survey of students coming to the library, doing what, and how they benefited the library. You know, if you go to the UNESCO's IFLA site, the school library guidelines, at the end of it, there are surveys that you can use. By these surveys, you can publish the success of students through the library. This is an important issue. By the end of the year, the report should be only 1 page, though. Your administrator will not read it if it is longer than that. Make a colorful 1-page report and present it to your administrator. If you have time, explain it, talk to them. So, and then it's the next year, and then it's the next year. Finally, you will get some extra support. It's not easy, never easy.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Okay, we move to other question from Poonam Bharti via Zoom. What are the initiatives would you like to recommend it to strengthen school librarianship in general? What are the initiatives would you like to recommend it to strengthen school librarianship in general? Do you think government intervention plays an important role in this?
Yes, the government will play an important role if they know how the roles of the school libraries are. I participated, for instance, a project with the Ministry of Education. They were strengthening school libraries, or a school, if they wanted to have a library, and if they had a space for a library, the Ministry of Education was going to give funds to them. They also gave the plans for the library, which was a very good initiative. And it was about 1,500 school libraries were built that way, because they were paying for that. But if you are by yourself and no help, the steps are even more difficult. But once your administrator or the government realizes that this is an important project, then it gets easier. But nothing is easy in life, you know. If you can get, the story is, if you can get your government pay you, fund you, then you are lucky. Did that answer my question? Was that enough, or I don't know?
Yes, thank you so much.
It answered the question. Okay, there are still some questions. This question from Nazaruddin Musa through Zoom. There are two main obstacles regarding school libraries in Indonesia in general, or Aceh in particular, namely space and time constraints. Where at school there are no special hours for students to access the library. Generally, students visit the library when the teacher is absent and during breaks. I want to know, how is the state of school libraries in Turkey, especially library service hours?
Yes, this is a very good question. Thank you. We don't have library slots, but once you collaborate with the teachers, once you present your projects to the teachers, then they will bring their classes to the library. That's how I operate it. There are no time slots for libraries in Turkey either. It depends if they have a free class. If they want to come to the library, they do. If not, they go to the other places. But it's the teacher that's the pivotal point here. Then if they realize you are doing good things for the units, if they have resources enough in the library, most teachers will not be aware of them either, but it's you who has to be the active one. Go to the teacher, talk about your library, invite them to the library, invite the whole teachers for a tea in the library. So they get to know the library and what you can do for them. And then the teachers would reserve time slots for the library and bring their classes to the library. That's how I operated.
Okay, I hope it answered the question. Okay, there is one more question from Fikru Mafar via YouTube. How the public library in Turkey serve their users, especially the students during this pandemic? How the public library in Turkey serve their users, especially the students during this pandemic? Ask about public library.
The public libraries at first were closed. Nobody had access to them. But then they operated on special time slots, and some acted, if you had appointments, you could come up to the library. They were not really very accessible during the pandemic times. But then they interchanged interchangeable personnel. One stayed, and it was a very difficult time for public libraries too.
Okay, I hope it answered the question. And I'm really sorry because the limited time. Ibu Ayse Yuksel, many thanks for your comprehensive explanation to answer the participant questions. And I'm really sorry for the limited time because now we have arrived in the end of the session. Thank you very much, Ibu Ayse Yuksel, for your knowledge and your experiences you have shared to us. And I really believe it useful and inspiring to all of us, especially to many school librarians in Indonesia, to adapt they have learned from this webinar. Hopefully we can meet again and continue our discussion another time. And last but not least, my thankful to all of great participants for your valuable time and your attention to join this program until the end of session. Also, I remind you to join the next International Top Visiting Librarian Session 9 on next month on September 15 with the topic Library Information Science and Media and Information Literacy Bangladesh by Dilara Bigun. Once again, thank you very much for your attention and participation. See you next month. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And I return to Mbak Annisa Rahayu. Thank you, Mbak Annisa.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ibu Isrowiyanti, for handling that session. And thank you for our speakers, Mrs. Ayse, for your informative and interesting talk about Turkey's library. And ladies and gentlemen, last but not least, we invite Dr. Debal as the president of SLA to deliver the vote of thanks. Dr. Debal, please, the time is yours.
Thank you. Thank you, Ayse. Annisa. Good morning. Good afternoon. Dear Miss Ayse Yuksel-Durukan, School of Library Consultant, Turkey, Miss Labiba Jain, Head UNIN Sunan Kalijaga Library, Ismiyatin, Librarian, UIN Sunan Kalijaga Library, Indonesia, and all my SLA friends and all the participants. It is my privilege to propose the vote of thanks on these 8 series of visiting librarian program organized by UIN Sunan Kalijaga Library, Yogyakarta, Indonesia, with collaboration with Special Libraries Association, Asian Community, and APPTI, Indonesian Library Association. SLA Asian chapter community is very happy to associate with the UIN Sunan Kalijaga Library and APPTIS to organize this visiting librarian program during the year 2021 as scheduled. It will be organizing meeting one day in every month throughout the year. Next will be in the month September. It's already told that Dr. Dilara Begum will be our next speaker. There will be, so today, this was the 8th in the series. Speaker was Ms. Ayse Yuksel, School Library Consultant from Turkey. Thank you, Ms. Ayse, for your enthusiastic talk and sharing your knowledge and expertise with all of us and informing school library systems and other education system in Turkey. Thank you. Thank you very much, Ayse. We would like to thank Ms. Ismiyatin, Librarian UIN Sunan Kalijaga Library Indonesia, for our presence in this program and giving excellent opening remarks and your wholehearted support for this program. Thank you very much. Ismiyatin. I also would like to thank Ms. Labiba Jain for active participation in the SLA Asian community activities and always keep SLA Asia with all our activities. We look forward to working with you in future too. Thank you, Labiba. Thank also due to Isrowiyanti, Librarian UN Kalijaga Library Indonesia, for excellent moderating the session. Thank you, Ms. Isrowiyanti. Thank you very much. I thank all the enthusiastic participants who contributed by making the program lively with fruitful questions and discussions. Thank you, everybody. Thanks also due to all the students and teachers of the LIS Department of Life and Library staff of UIN Sunan Kalijaga, Yogyakarta, Indonesia, for their active participation, support, and successfully organizing the program and making the event so good, and for their enthusiastic work. So also all our gratitude to UIN Sunan Kalijaga Authority and all others, those who are engaged and giving permission and helping for conducting this program. This program is being organized by the UIN Sunan Kalijaga Library and in collaboration with SLA Asian Chapter Community and APPTIS. My special gratitude to all of them. Thanks also to all the sponsors for their support this program. Thank you very much. Thanks everybody. Over to Annisa.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Debal, for your speech about the vote of thanks. And also for all the participants here, thank you so much for joining us today. Stay safe and always be happy wherever you are, because it will give us a positive energy in our body. And I do apologize for my mistakes in presenting this event. Thank you for your kind attention, and I hope This event can give us new information and knowledge that can be applied in our life. And ladies and gentlemen, but before we end this meeting, let's take some picture together and make sure your camera is on. And don't forget to give your best smile for this unforgettable moment. Okay. Start from the first slide. Okay, 1, 2. Okay, next slide. 1, 2, 3. Okay, next slide. 1, 2, cheese. Okay, last slide. 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Thank you so much, guys, for joining this today. I'm Annisa Rahayu, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you, Annisa. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Debal.
Thank you so much, Ayse. Thank you so much, Dr. Debal.
Thank you.
To all participants.
Zar, thank you for joining us and asking questions. Nazar and Herman from Aceh. Okay.
Inspiring presentation, Ayse.
Yeah, Dr. Nurdin is the head of LIS department, Ayse. I want you.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Ayse.
Dr. Nurdin.
Nice to meet you too.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you, Nuruddin.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Dr. Debal. How are you?
I'm fine. Doing
Always
well.
safe, yeah.
Okay. Reza, apa kabar? How are you?
Hello, Madam, Miss Labibah. I'm so great today. How about you today?
Thank you. I'm fine. Thank you for joining us.
Yes,
Thank
you're
you.
welcome, ma'am.
Everybody. Thank you and see you next month. I hope next month you can join us. We have Media Information Literacy with Dr. Delara Begum from East West University, Bangladesh. On September 15. Will be moderated by Miss Marwiyah. Okay, thank you so much. The host can end the meeting. Pak Ahmad Sauki, terima kasih, thank you. Ibu Nyoman, thank you. Pak Agung, thank you. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Zarudin, thank you.